What's up everybody, welcome back to another Obsessed Auto Reviews. My name is Gary and today we're going to take a look at this 2016 Nissan Juke. So Nissan has made some pretty funky vehicles. This was definitely one of them. It looked kind of, unique to say the least, quirky, funky, and I kind of like it. It depends on what your taste is. You either like it or you don't. This one being the Nismo edition made the already crazy styling even more unique and stand out-ish, to say the least. So today I'm going to show you what it's all about. And before I get going on this video, thank you to Honda West of Calgary, Alberta for letting us borrow this vehicle, because without them, this video wouldn't have been possible. So if you're interested in this or anything else, the link is in the description below. Let's get started. All right, everybody, let's take a look underneath the engine bay. We have a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It made 188 horsepower and about 177 pound-feet of torque. It was mated to a CVT if you got an all-wheel drive, and if you got a front-wheel drive, you get a manual transmission. So based on personal preference, you pick what you pick. 0 to 60, about approximately 6.7 seconds. I had a tough time finding a 0 to 60 for this because Canada didn't get the RS Nismo, but America did, and numbers were kind of mixed, and I couldn't find official brochures from Nissan. So take that information with a grain of salt, but you know what, it's okay. It does what it needs to do. It's kind of fun. Definitely more power than what most of the segment offers, so that's always nice. But did you know they made a crazy Nissan Juke Nismo R with a GTR engine in there that made about 600 horsepower? Now that thing would haul ass. That'd be fun to drive. I wish I could drive that thing one day. So yeah, let's move on. All right, everybody, we're gonna start off with the front end. And as you can see, it looks fairly quirky, funky, hip, as the young folks would like to say. Anyways, so you have your dark V-Motion grille up front, you have your Nismo badge, you have your 2-tier setup headlights. Pretty interesting looking, not the norm, that's for sure. You have your low beam halogen lights that came through the projector, your high beams beneath that, and then you have your daytime running lights. They were LEDs, thankfully, and then you have your gray splitter and red trimmed accent up front. Now from the front end, you could definitely notice the mirrors. It kind of stands out, but this entire car stands out, obviously. So let's move over to the side. Okay, so taking a look at the side profile is very interesting, again, to say the least. It looks kind of like a raised hot hatch. And some people may love that, some people may not. Once again, you have those red side mirrors showing with the LEDs on them, and then you have a gray side sill with red accents. And then for the wheel setup, Nissan gave you an 18-inch wheel sitting on, I believe, 225 series tires from the factory. So, the wheels don't look too bad. They kind of look aftermarket-ish with that two-tone setup. Maybe a solid gray or a black would have looked nice. But yeah, overall, it's got that modern kind of vibe to it. So let me take you to the back. Right, so moving on to the rear end, from the lower bumper portion and up, it looks fairly like any other Juke. You have your same tail lights that would feature a halogen brake light, turn signals, and reverse. Have a little bit of a spoiler up there. Only thing that signifies, is that a word? So the only thing that shows this being a performance-oriented version would be that Nismo badge and that funky-looking rear bumper. You have the same gray accents. You have a single outlet exhaust, and the previous owner put some mud flaps on this, so it looks pretty badass, in my opinion. This guy also put a aftermarket exhaust on, so that's why it sounds a little louder than normal. So whenever you want to take a little deep dive into this rear tailgate, put your hand beneath the Nissan logo. There's a little switch, and here you go. You have your mats and stuff, but not a whole lot of space, about 10 cubic feet with the seats up, and then I believe 30-ish when you have the rear seats down. So that's cool. You have that little black plastic all around, hard touch. You can't really expect too much, obviously, around this price range. And then beneath the floor here, you have a temporary spare tire. So yeah, that's all I got. Not much to talk about back here. All right, so here we are back in the car. So if you've ever been in a Nissan product before, you'll definitely be able to, recognize this interior. It's going to seem fairly familiar. Whether you look at the switchgear right over here, this has been around for a long time. Whether you look at the steering wheel, it's the buttons or the layout, everything, it's going to feel kind of at home if you're a Nissan driver. Now, something unique to this Nismo trim, you have your Alcantara steering wheel. It looks great, feels really great too. Perfect example as well to show you why Alcantara looks great when it's brand new, but when it's been used, it does look pretty bad. But wear and tear, it's going to happen, especially on, you know, this kind of stuff. So you have your red accented stitching all along, and because this is a Nismo, you have your red tachometer showing there as well. You have a little red stripe on the steering wheel. Moving on to the center, you have you know, piano black kind of center console area. You have your navigation. It's a slow screen, you know, for 2016. It's kind of on the rougher side, but put this thing into reverse. You have a backup camera and what looks like a 360 camera. Now it says mod in the top left corner, and I've never seen that before. Get this thing into focus. I've never seen that before, so I'm not sure if this car came with it or if that's a, you know, aftermarket modification they did. I'm not even sure if they came with a backup camera. Probably did, but anyways, let's move on to the lower portion here. You have your USB and an auxiliary port, and then you have a power adapter over there. Now the HVAC controls are fairly simple and they serve a good purpose as well. So you have your knobs, obviously. Hashtag save the knobs, you know I gotta say it. The cool thing they did though, they blended in the drive mode buttons all into here too. So when I press drive mode, you see how everything just changed? And you can pick your drive modes from normal, sport, eco, and go back to climate control and change that again. So that's really cool. And then you can see your boost gauge as well, and then your climate gets pushed down to the bottom down over here. So you have your CVT transmission selector. That's really cool. It does the job. I'm not the biggest fan of CVTs, who is, but it is what it is. You have your gray trimmed plastic for the lower portion of the center console. It's better than piano black, you know, do what you can do. A couple couples and a little bit of a storage cubby below here as well. So you have your center armrest, suede material, red stitching, the same as before, so that's kind of cool to see. Let's look at these seats. What you doing back here, Ben? You been sitting here all this time? Damn, I didn't even know. So taking a look at these seats, these are Nismo specific seats. You have great bolstering on your sides and for your legs as well. Red perforations all along. You have this nice red stitching that goes along as well. You know what? Overall, the interior, the front interior here, it looks really nice. Once again, if you're, you know, used to a Nissan product, you'll feel right at home. So I'm going to adjust my seat to where I'll be comfortable. I'm going to try to squeeze in the back there and show you how I fit. All right, I'm going to jump in the back here. I tried to open both doors just so it's a little bright, but let's see. Okay. So the front of the seat is where I would be if I was comfortable driving. And I'm 6'1" if you're new to the channel. And you can see along the back here, my knees are basically rubbing. I kind of have no leg room at all. Headroom wise, it's kind of brushing up in my hair, this headliner. And the headliner itself is kind of like a cheap kind of material. But other than that, the back here doesn't have too much to kind of showcase. No connectivity back here. No suede materials back here. It's kind of on the cheaper plastic end. Your typical switches and knobs, and yeah, your seats kind of have a little bit of red stitching, and that's kind of about it. I mean, they're comfortable for smaller people, but once again, you can't really complain too much because it's a subcompact crossover, and it is what it is. All right, time to take this puppy on the road and see what we can do. If I didn't mention this already, the exhaust is a little bit louder than normal, and from what I got told, someone or the previous owner did do some work on it and got that swapped out, so that's why it's a little bit louder than usual. If you're looking at a Juke Nismo, normally it wouldn't sound like this, so just note that. And overall, you know, like, visibility isn't that bad, despite how like the rear end is kind of you know, abnormal shape compared to the normal SUV you see out there. So I can see out the rear window fine, like my side mirror vision is fine. Blind spot, it's kind of difficult on the passenger side. It's a little bit more, you know, less easier to see, but it's not that bad as well. We are now in sport. Let me put this down a gear with this fake simulations Interesting. You guys see that pickup? Okay, I'm gonna do that again, don't worry. I'm gonna do it again. All right, here we are. Let's take this up a notch. Full boost, you could hear it a little bit. I would have shown you a little bit more, but Ben had a tough time pressing the record button for some reason. Okay, you know what? It's quick enough. You know, it's a subcompact SUV size-wise, and it's got more power than most of them. You know, and it's fun to drive. Looks kind of funky. I don't know. It's really personal preference. Every vehicle is personal preference, basically. Whether you like it or you don't, that's up to you. Sometimes people don't like the styling. Sometimes you don't like the interior. Sometimes you don't like the way it drives. It is honestly all up to you. So, yeah. Let me slow down a little bit, give it some gas. So hopefully you heard that. Kind of loud. CVT seems like it's getting pushed around a little bit, but yeah, you can definitely hear that turbo kicking in though. And the rest is up to you, and the rest is history, as they say. If you like this video, which I hope you did, make sure you hit that like button. We will catch you next time. Take it easy. Peace.